Good afternoon, Amit sir. It is so good to see you today afternoon. The pleasure is all ours, and I'm sure all our members of the industry will be so happy to see you when this video reaches them. It is an absolute honor. Absolute honor.
Thank you so much, Nidhi, and it's very nice to see you again after this, not only after this, during this long lockdown. So it's good.
So thank you very much for taking this interview session with us. Uflex is the largest converter of India by far, and multinational operations across continents. So your experience of how the lockdown has impacted first India operations and then overseas will be very interesting to know to all our listeners and our industry colleagues.
Look, we have started our operations. We had a few days of issues and problems, but we have started our operations almost right at the beginning because of, we are supplying our packaging material for essential products, a lot of essential products. So we got the permission and we have been at it. Yes, initially there was difficulty. There was more difficulty because of, logistics and supply chain. We could not get lorries on time. We could not get lorries to move. We had problems of getting raw material. We had problems of movement of finished goods. We had problems of people coming to work, how they will move, etc. And so I would say that was a learning phase for us. It was something very new. Lockdown was declared within 4 hours of announcement. So we learned, and we learned quickly. We learned because it was important for us to serve our customers. That was the main thing. And also, we organized ourselves so far as, to us, the two most important things are, one, safety of our people. And for that, we have organized everything that is necessary, all steps within the book and outside the book, and of course, our customers. So we have gone all out to service them as best as possible, taking all their priorities, dealing with them at every level. So that was our initial learning phase. After that, I think we have, of course, restricted availability of manpower because the government specified that so many people will come, etc. So working within that framework, we have focused on production, productivity, planning, and I would say that we have done reasonably well,
What has been the learning from your plants that are overseas, Amit sir? Because we understood that they were very fast in opening operations.
Yes, they have also been through the same exercise, but they are all operating well. I am told that the demand for flexible packaging in abroad, in USA, they are overfull. The big producers are all overfull with orders. So therefore, that has it creates its own demand for films. Where we are operating in multiple locations, and so more or less the same situation.
I think yes. Thank you, Amit sir. I think Uflex was the first plants in our India to actually come into operation. So our industry colleagues, maybe we can take a separate session with your production heads that what are the learnings that they can share with the industry people. That I'll come to you maybe in a second session. What has been the capacity utilization in India and overseas? And has it almost come to full back, or still it is 60–70%?
No, we are operating, it has grown progressively over March, April, May. We are operating above 75%, between 75% and 80% with much less manpower. So that calls for that itself shows you how people have reacted to the challenges and given their best, doing their best. And overseas plants are also well utilized. I don't have an exact number on that, but I know that they are all working well within the midst of all these challenges. Remember, they are operating in Mexico, in US, in Poland, in Egypt, in Dubai, and we have new plants under commissioning in Nigeria, Russia, and I think Nigeria, Russia, Hungary. So there is definitely some setback in the commissioning of those plants because, again, the same thing, availability of manpower, stoppage of movement from one place to the other. But things are doing well. Things are moving fine.
That's very
we have a
endearing to hear. That the demand from US is extremely high. That's like other countries overseas. So our market is increasing then.
Yes, our market is definitely increasing. We have a very, all of us, it will be wrong to say that we are not facing problems, not facing difficulties, but we have a very positive attitude towards that and acting positively to make things happen. And that's working well, keeping in mind the customer and keeping in mind our own teams and people.
Excellent. Which market segments, Amit sir, flexible packaging industry would see a notable shift, and why? Like, we have the most affected the products like laminates or barrier films or alu foil based laminates. Which vertical do you think sees a growth, and which are the ones that probably see a little degrowth?
You see, growth will be in home consumption. Growth will be in food packaging. Growth will be in, principally, the new emerging thing is health and hygiene. Health and hygiene. The entire gamut of health and hygiene is doing very well, showing big uptrends. And then there is the pharmaceutical industry. Pharmaceutical industry suffered badly for about a couple of months, 1.5 to 2 months, because the hub of the pharmaceutical industry is in Baddi, and Baddi was totally locked out. And again, the logistics of moving to Sikkim, moving to Assam, and so on and so forth. But that's largely behind us now. We are looking forward to solid progress in that area. So these will be the areas like staples, is something where you would see a lot of growth, new SKUs, and so on and so forth. Where it is likely to go down is, I think, our impulse buying. Impulse buying is likely to go down because people will try to conserve and spend money on essentials rather than, this concept of impulse buying, indulgence buying, etc.
Films is a large part of your production and your portfolio. How has that vertical been in the last 3 months, and what do you see its future in the coming quarters?
You see, in the month of March, I think we did something like 50%. In April, it grew 60. Right now, I think it's 70-75%. And we expect that from next month, this should be back to normal or very close to normal, 80-85%. And you see, if the packaging industry, if the flexible packaging industry is growing, if the flexible packaging industry is moving forward, then films is a very major component of the flexible packaging industry. So they will also grow accordingly.
Yes, so I think another sunrise for our industry, that both the films packaging as well as the converting is having good days to see in future. Uflex is also a very major exporter, sir. How have the past few months seen some challenges in exports, or you have been able to kind of recoup the washout that in the initial months would have seen for exports?
Number one is the challenges. Initially, there were a lot of challenges, again, of supply chain. Movement of material from plants to the port, the stoppage of activities at the ports. But all that has been very efficiently, I must commend that they've been very efficiently handled. Things are much better. And so far as recouping is concerned, I'm happy to share that we shall be exporting more this month than we have ever done before.
That's a brilliant news. I think I'm not hearing so much of that what I'm speaking to the leaders. But yes,
No,
Uflex
we have
does
been,
pave the way.
export has been a focus area for us. And we have facilities working overseas to make this happen. And we have a very energetic and efficient team. And the focus of the company has been on increasing and expanding exports. And that's the direction we are going.
Brilliant, sir. Are you going to be incorporating some technological changes either in supply chain or in manufacturing lines? Are you going to be bringing in automation and robotics? Has Uflex made such kind of plans for the coming future after the pandemic experience?
Look, some amount of automation for sure will take place in material movement, material handling, in those areas. But our machines, they are highly automated. Our converting machines, production machines are highly automated. And there's nothing much that, there could be minor things happening, but there's nothing much to add to that. Robotics, no, we are not looking at robotics. You must not forget that the packaging industry is a low margin industry. So there is, one has to look very carefully before you leap with money. But with whatever we have, yes. Supply chain, the whole planning cycle is under focus. And movement, we are re-looking at the whole thing. But, fundamental movement in India is road transport. Road transport, currently roads are largely empty. So transport moves faster. But that's not going to be the case. Hopefully, the roads will be busy. So we have to see how we manage that, and what kind of contracts we are able to make with our transporters, maximize the use of full truckloads and reduce the part truckloads, etc. All this is in the works, and that's that. And of course, there's a lot of tracking. So our people are continuously tracking the movement of the lorries, where it is, how far it is moved today, how long it will take to reach. So that's the the digital part of it is there. And because ultimately the customer is not interested how fast we produce the material. They're interested in by when we can reach it to them. So a lot of energies are going into that area.
Excellent. Maybe, sir, the module that Uflex is going to make for the productivity enhancements in the supply chain would be very valuable for the industry, which we will probably take from you and share with our industry colleagues. Now, the important question about China. How does Uflex plan to leverage the sentiment that China has caused due to this COVID experience? You think that there are plans to kind of take some new markets that people would be interested to give to some other countries?
You see, let me deal with the first of all, in India, there's hardly any competition from China. In fact, China is a source of raw material. China is a source of some machinery, and there's been no disruption in that, by and large, except for shipping disturbances that there have been. But otherwise, there's in terms of supply, there has been no disturbances so far as China is concerned. Coming to India, we have not faced much competition from Chinese flexible packaging converters. So China is not a factor in the Indian market. Going overseas, we are already very well established in markets like USA, North America, UK, Europe, South Africa, and so on. So we are growing there. And there, I don't think China is a factor in those areas. And yes, the growing, I would say, disappointment with China or whatever. So we definitely would like to, step in, and we will. We will maximize our exports, and we already have, and we'll keep moving from that.
Oh, great. So that is probably another road step ahead. Was Uflex taking machines, or some of your partners were from China, which you are planning to change, or you would continue working with them?
Look, most of our equipment is European equipment. Most of our heavy-duty converting equipment there. There are machines which we have bought from China, and we continue to do that as necessary. I don't see that there's any policy directive or policy change on that one.
No, that's fair enough. Fair enough, sir. Also, Uflex has been seen very aggressively working with compostable plastics. How do you see the future of that field?
You see, let me clarify. Uflex has been working very aggressively and made a lot of investments, have been operating full speed pre-lockdown, and again on recycling not only of flexible packaging, but recycling of plastic bottles and so on and so forth. And also in terms of biodegradable, enzymatic biodegradable films, and consequently laminates. So that will continue. We will not, just because right at the moment, plastics is not a bad word. Plastics have, have done a lot of things during this period, but we are not going to rest on that. Whatever progress we have made in terms of sustainability, sustainable laminates, we have already stated and proved to everybody concerned that multi-layer laminates is recyclable. There is no sort of denying that. That has been officially demonstrated. And we will continue on that path. We will not go back because we are deeply into it. And, on time scale, we shall focus on that. And biodegradable. We are ready. With biodegradable films. We have supplied biodegradable films and laminates. And we will focus on that. We will not think that, this is a time when plastics is not a bad word, so lie back. No.
I think that's the way to go. Always keep a step ahead so that we don't lose out the goodwill that we have actually got during this time. We need to take it up and probably go 2 steps ahead, and the leader will show the way. Also, Amit sir, what is going to be the new norm of the materials that's going to be used for flexible packaging going forward?
You see, the materials that are used for flexible packaging, what are the materials used? There is paper, there is foil, there is different films, polymers, etc. There would be no significant change in that. No significant change in that. Yes, there will be new polymers, specialty films, etc. which we have been working on before in our innovation group, and we will continue to do that. That is it. Yes, there has always been the pressure of um, downsizing, going thinner, using monolayer, etc., etc. And that is the innovation bit, and that we will continue to do. And so I don't see any, yes, as new materials become available, different grades of polymers, different grades of, of inks, adhesives, etc., we will continue to leverage that, and whether
That
it
is business as normal. Nothing diametrically goes
I can
a
see that,
different direction.
there's something that, yes, specifications will change, market segments will be different, market segments, they'll be focused on some areas, lesser focus on other areas. All those are a part of the ongoing process. Yes, we have learned a lot from all that we have gone through. Let's call it the sufferings that we have gone through, and we will put it to good use.
Yes. On that note, I wanted, Amit sir, your view on what have been the learnings specifically, which our industry fellow colleagues can learn from this very difficult and critical time that all of us went through for
I would say
business
two,
front.
three things. Number one, no matter what the challenge, no matter what the difficulties, and there have been many challenges and many difficulties during this period of time, our approach, and I'm not talking about leadership approach, of course, leadership approach, but our entire team effort has been positive, has been something that, yes, it has to be done, and get it done. And the learning from this, basically, my learning from this has been do more with less.
That is going to be the mantra from Dr. Amit Ray. Do more with less. That is your takeaway. Okay. That all the businesses should be kind of following. Great. Any guidance for our Indian converters, Amit sir, who probably are, little more shaken by this experience than your organization?
No, I think fundamentally nothing very different from what we have said. And I think the main thing is to focus on what we can do best. Nobody can do everything. What is it that we can do best? Let's focus on that. And let's remember that contingencies can today, take Bengal, for example. Yes. In the midst of this, you had this terrible, terrible cyclone, the kind of disaster that has taken place. So you can't wipe away all this. This takes a lot of effort, lot of money to recover from. And I think we should all keep this in mind and try to conserve what we have. In a highly competitive market, and my advice or suggestion would be, don't cut each other's throat for competing on price. There is hardly, I think conserve. The two things is conserve and do more with less.
Wonderful, sir. What I've really learned a lot myself in this interview, that the demand is going to go very high in flexible packaging. So everyone should be geared up to take that. We have to be lean. Our organizations need to be lean and swift is what you mentioned. There is a lot of new market overseas that is coming up, which our converters can take advantage of. And we all need to coexist, as you've rightly said, and do more with less. This is the learnings that I got from this interview, if I've capped it okay.
You have.
Okay, great. We will be coming back to you, Amit sir, with what are the learnings in specifics like logistics, supply chain, which our converters and the Indian industry will be looking forward, which will come back to you in a month's time. And till then, we thank you very much. We'll stay connected and really appreciate the time given to us, our industry colleagues. Thank you all, Amit sir.
That's my pleasure. Thank you for contacting me. Thank you for your time, and stay well. Take care.
Thank you very much. Bye.